What would you do if you found a bag full of gold on the street, and absolutely no one was watching? Would you keep it, walk away, and pretend you never saw it? Well, a little girl did something so unexpected, so incredibly rare, that even the king himself had to reward her. Stay with me, because this story is a powerful reminder of how a single, honest act can change everything. In a small, quiet village at the very edge of a great kingdom lived an 8-year-old girl named Lena. She wasn't rich. She didn't have fancy clothes or shelves full of toys. In fact, her family struggled just to buy bread most days. But Lena had something far more valuable than anything money could buy: a heart that was trained to do the right thing, even when no one was looking. One early morning, as the sun began to paint the sky with strokes of gold, Lena walked to the market to buy a loaf of bread for her mother. The streets were still quiet. Shops were just beginning to open their shutters, and the air was cool and fresh. And that's when she saw it. Lying right in the middle of the cobblestone road was a heavy leather bag. Curious, she knelt down and carefully untied the string. She opened the top, peeked inside, and froze. Gold coins? Dozens and dozens of them, gleaming in the morning light. It was enough money to feed her family for years, to buy them a new home, to change their lives forever. For a split second, her small hands trembled. Imagine being so poor, so used to having nothing, and suddenly holding a fortune right in your hands. But instead of excitement, Lena felt something else entirely. A quiet, certain whisper inside her heart that said, "This is not mine." Without another thought, she tied the bag shut, clutched it tightly, and ran as fast as her legs could carry her, straight toward the towering palace gates. The royal guards, standing tall and stern, stopped her immediately. "Where do you think you're going, little girl?" one of them asked, his voice deep and serious. Breathing hard, Lena looked up at him and said, "I found this bag. Someone must be looking for it. Please, I need to give it to the king." The guards looked at each other, puzzled. Children didn't just show up and ask to meet the king, especially not poor children holding bags heavy with gold. But there was something in her eyes of pure, calm honesty that was impossible to ignore. So, against their better judgment, they decided to let her in. Inside the magnificent great hall, the king sat on his throne, surrounded by his most important ministers and advisors. They were deep in discussion about serious matters of war, taxes, and trade. The room was filled with the low hum of important voices, until suddenly everyone fell silent. A tiny girl in worn-out clothes was stepping forward, holding a heavy bag with both hands. "My king," she said softly, her voice barely a whisper in the vast hall. "I found this on the road. I think someone might have lost it." The entire room held its breath. The king motioned for her to come closer. He slowly took the bag, opened it, and saw the shimmering gold inside. Then he looked down at the little girl standing before him, her face filled with sincerity. "Child," he asked gently, his voice echoing slightly, "do you have any idea how much this gold is worth?" Lena nodded. "Yes, my king. I think it's enough to change someone's life." She paused, then added, "But not mine, because it isn't mine to take." The king leaned back in his chair, completely stunned. The ministers started whispering among themselves. Who returns a bag of gold? A poor child, no less. Why would she do that? The king leaned forward again and asked another question. "Your clothes, they're worn. Your shoes have holes. I can see that your family is not wealthy. Why didn't you just keep this?" Lena looked him right in the eye, her voice clear and steady. "My mother taught me that honesty is the only treasure that never runs out." At that moment, something shifted in the room. The king stood up from his throne, and Asadid. Everyone else in the hall rose with him. He walked down the steps from his platform and knelt down, so he was at the little girl's height. "Child," he said, his voice filled with emotion, "today you have taught this entire kingdom what true wealth really looks like." Then he did something no one, not even his closest advisors, expected. He lifted the heavy bag of gold and handed all of it back to Lena. "This gold," the king announced loudly, so everyone could hear, "belongs to the most honest person in this kingdom. Let it be known from this day forward, honesty will always be rewarded here." Gasps of astonishment filled the hall. Some of the stern, old ministers could be seen wiping tears from their eyes. Lena stared at the bag of gold in her hands, her eyes wide with disbelief. "But my king," she stammered. "I didn't return it to get a reward. I just wanted it to reach the right person." The king smiled warmly. "And it did," he said. "That person is you." News of Lena's incredible honesty spread like wildfire across the kingdom. People from all over came to congratulate her and her family. They finally had enough food to eat, warm clothes to wear, and a safe, comfortable home. But here's the most beautiful part of the story. Lena didn't change. The gold didn't make her proud or boastful. She still helped her mother with chores. She still visited the poor and shared what she had. She still lived her life with the same humble, gentle smile, because she understood something profound. The real reward wasn't the bag of gold. The real reward was proving to herself and to the entire world that doing the right thing, no matter the cost, always matters. So the next time you're faced with a choice, especially when you think no one is watching, remember the little girl who chose honesty over a fortune and ended up richer than she ever could have imagined. Because sometimes one single honest act can change your entire destiny. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that inspires.